Welcome to the Self-Care for the Creative podcast, where we talk self-care strategies for creatives. We also talk mindset, wellness, personal growth, and artist development within the music industry. I'm your host, Stefani Fryzel. I'm an artist, author, and creative coach, and the founder of Stefani Fryzel Coaching, where we help artists, songwriters, and producers increase their impact, income, and visibility within a year with our artist development program. This season, we are diving deep into calling forth your next level. I'm so glad you're here. Lauren Christy is the co-founder of The Matrix, 7-time Grammy nominee with over 50 million record sales. Lauren co-produced and co-wrote the worldwide phenomenon Avril Lavigne's Let Go, which included 3 international #1 hits, Complicated, Sk8er Boi, and I'm With You, selling 25 million copies. Lauren is one of 2 women to ever be nominated for a Grammy as Producer of the Year. She's worked with Rihanna, David Bowie, Dua Lipa, G-Eazy, BB Rexa, Jason Mraz, Shakira, Britney Spears, and many more. Please welcome my next guest, Lauren Christy. I am super excited to welcome Lauren Christy to the podcast. Please welcome Lauren Christy.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yay, I'm so excited. So please just give us a quick introduction to who you are, what you've accomplished, how you broke into the music industry, just so people can get to know you a little bit.
I mean, I guess I started off being a ballet dancer, loved music and movement. And then I went to a ballet school in England, a very serious ballet school. And on my first day there, I met a girl whose father was a famous songwriter. And it just piqued my interest. And of course, there were pianos in every room. So I started writing songs when I was 12. And then by 14, I was recording songs and just was obsessed with it and kind of dropped ballet. And finally, I was lucky enough to meet some people at EMI in England, and I got a publishing deal at 19. Then I got a record deal in America. By the way, I'm from England, as you can tell. I got a record deal in America when I was about 22, and I came out to Los Angeles, and I've been here ever since. I made 2 albums. I got kind of pretty close to having success with a song called The Color of the Night from the movie The Color of Night with Bruce Willis. And I got a Golden Globe nomination and an American Music Award nomination, but it wasn't enough to really make me a big star. And I kind of at that time decided to go behind the curtain and just help other people become successful. And it was going pretty well for a couple of years. And then suddenly this little girl, Avril Lavigne, walked in our door. She was 16 years old, and we wrote a bunch of songs with her, and it changed my life and hers. We wrote Complicated, Sk8er Boi, and I'm With You, amongst quite a few others. I think there were 7 on her first record. And it just blew up. It sold 25 million records. And from there, my company, The Matrix, that I was part of, was my ex-husband and our friend Scott Spock, the 3 of us. We just kind of worked with everybody. We worked with David Bowie. We worked with Shakira, Britney Spears, Enrique Iglesias, Ricky Martin. For 10 years, we didn't stop. We worked 6 days a week. And that's kind of wrapped up around 2011 or 2010. And since then, I've just been on my own, producing and writing BB Rexa and G-Eazy. I wrote Me, Myself, and I for them. BB and I wrote I Got You. We worked with the Azalea. We've just done a lot of stuff, BB and I together. And then I did Dua Lipa's Blow Your Mind Moi. Just a whole load of things that I love. And so I have had a life in music. I'm 57 now, and I'm still going, working on my daughter's band, Sk8er Christy. They're very young, Skyechiristy. That's how you spell it. So I'm busy working with them and helping out with their management, stuff like that. And I made my own record recently called Their Hits My Way. It's a collection of 12 songs that I was blessed to collaborate and write on and produce a lot of them. And so it's my versions with me singing, because I started out as a singer, so why not end up as one?
I love that. Yeah, so great. Wow, what a career.
It's long. It's all, I'm old.
It's so inspiring. Just listening to your track record, and just there's so much knowledge and wisdom in there. I can't wait to get a little bit deeper into our conversation. So you've helped shape the soundtrack of a generation. I don't know if you know that, but you really have. So
oh my goodness. Thank you.
Looking back, what do you remember most most vividly about that creative chapter with Avril?
Well, I mean, I tell you, it was a strange time because we were working on that album when 9/11 happened. It was 2001. She was 16. And every day we would go to the studio and just have so much fun. The first song we wrote together was a song called Falling Down, which didn't go on the record, but it ended up in Sweet Home Alabama. Avril and I just had such a blast. I taught her how to straighten her hair because she had amazing big curly hair and she would wear it in braids. And then I said, well, you know, you can just get it straightened. Let me take you to my hairdresser. And we'd go and get our nails done and we'd be talking about lyrics. We sat on the rooftop of her hotel and finished the lyrics to Sk8er Boi. We just had a great time. And then suddenly one day 9/11 happened. And I remember we all showed up at the studio and the TV was on and we all just said, no, we got to go home. We're not working today. It was just, we'll never forget that era because of that happening when the world changed on that day. And I really feel that some of the words are quite deep for how young Avril was. And I was a lot younger too. It's a lot of kind of life lessons that we wrote about, like in Complicated.
Right.
Chill out. What you yelling for? Lay back. It's all been done before. Like, stop sweating it. You know, everything's going to be okay, basically.
Right.
Because that's what you had to cling on to after 9/11. It just seemed so scary.
Right. I'm so fascinated by the way that you describe your relationship with her, because it was like you were friends. You would go get your hair done, your nails done, all those things. And so do you think that that was a huge piece of what made the song successful, was just really being close to the artist, getting inside of the artist, understanding their message? Like, do you think that was the key to these songs?
I think so. And I mean, Avril was only 16 and I just had my first baby, so I was 33. So I was a lot older than her. But I also felt, because I had come from being an artist myself and I'd kind of seen the dangers of this business, that I felt very protective towards her. So it was more like, I'll take you, let me look after you, you know. And we became friends, of course, and we're still friends to this day. But, you know, it was like she was a lot younger than me, but it was more like, I'm like, no, 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 don't go to that party. No, no, no. Like,
Right.
let me take you
Let me
back
protect
to your
you. Yeah.
place. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, but I do think it was a real bond and we just had so much fun that summer. It was incredible.
That's so incredible. And so you had just become a mom and you were taking this new young artist under your wing. And so what was that like for you, becoming a mom in music? And I just became a mom myself at the beginning of January this year. So it is a life-altering experience. And I'm like,
Oh
I am,
yes.
I am, I am in the throes of it now. But like, what was that like for you to have just become a mom and that huge transition and postpartum and all that stuff, and simultaneously have like one of the biggest pieces of your career explode in front of your face?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I think women feel that if they get pregnant and they're trying to have a big career in some field, that people won't take us seriously because, oh, you really just want to be at home with your child, which you do, but you also can do two things at once. If you have a great support team, a great family around you. So my career took off when I got pregnant. It really did. And of course, it's like scary time, but it's also the most creative time ever when you're growing a human being inside you. And
Mhm.
so all those songs were written while I was pregnant with the second baby. And
Wow.
yeah, so I just had the ideas just flowing to me. And of course, you know, having a baby is just so stressful on your body. I remember I had kind of like the Rolls Royce of breast pumps
Yeah.
and being going in the vocal booth, which with no windows. And that's where we recorded all the Avril stuff. But I would say, excuse me, everybody, I just got to go away for like half an hour. And I just go into that room in the dark on my own and pump
Oh my God, I
pump
love
milk. And I
this.
was just like, and then I would say my studio was 5 minutes from my house. So I'd say, okay, I'm just running it back home to my mom or my aunt who'd be looking after the baby. And I'd run back with the fresh milk and then come back right back and continue working. So it was just a huge adjustment. And I just think as soon as you have a baby, whatever your business field, that's your priority. You become like mama bear about
Hmm.
working. You don't waste any time. You know, sometimes you
Yes.
go to work and everyone just wants to like mess around for an hour and a half talking before they really get to it. That doesn't really happen once you've had a baby. You're like, okay,
Let's
time is
get to
money.
it. Yep.
Uh, let's get to it because I've got a little one that I have to get back to, and I don't want to be, I don't want to
Exactly.
be faffing around. So, and then everything changes. It's really until they leave home at 19 or when I left home that every 6 months is a different challenge as a mother of like
Hmm.
looking after them. Oh, now they've got a phone and now they've got friends and they're 12. And it's just, you're just adapting. And I feel like you don't really rest as a mother until they leave home. Like
Right,
you're just going to
right.
be in full mama bear mode for a good 19, 20 years. And it was the best time. My kids left home 4 years ago. And all I can say to people your age is enjoy every moment, even though it seems like a crazy moment and your kid's having a tantrum. 6 months' time, they've moved out of that stage. And
Right,
that is how it goes right
right.
through until they leave home. Even now, once they've left home, I still see them growing and changing and becoming, having more wisdom. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's the best thing I've ever done. The most creative thing I've ever done was to have children and nurture them. And I just always
Amazing.
wanted to be a mum. So it's
So
amazing.
incredible. Thank you so much for validating that experience because that was probably one of the biggest things that I noticed right away after giving birth. Like, aside from like the postpartum journey and the healing and all the things, like, I had zero time to fuck around. I was like, all right, everything has
Hmm. Hmm.
reprioritized. Certain things have fallen off the radar. Like, you just don't have the time. And it
That's
almost
it.
sharpens your focus. It changes the way your lens as a woman in music, as a mom in music. So it brings me to my next question. Like, you're one of only 2 women ever nominated for Producer of the Year. And that's huge. What is it like navigating that space as a woman in a role that's still so male dominated?
Oh, it's just not something I ever really thought about, and I feel I was very protected because you see, I had my ex-husband who really was the skater boy that we were writing about, or at least it was for me in that song. So I started a company with him called The Matrix. So it was Graham and then our friend Scott Spark. And so I had a team of guys with me, and I might have been a bit more different if it was just me on my own, because I feel like, strangely enough, in this business, there's just so few female producers. I feel like it's kind of bro culture. And I also
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of female artists want to work with male producers. It's just they're
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable. Maybe there's a bit more like, fireworks in the room or something. So I wouldn't say I've ever got to experience it because I was in a team with 2 men. But the last 16 years, I've been on my own. And I feel that I've really stood on my own outside of the music business. I run my own ship now.
Yeah.
And that's been interesting. I've had to become very, very tough about business because this is a business where everyone will invite you to come for nothing. And it's
Right.
basically volunteer work if you're just a songwriter. So I had to always say, listen, I have a Grammy nomination as producer of the year. I have to almost like push in and brag a bit, which I'm not that type of person to want to do that. But if you don't do it, you just get swept over and nobody's interested in you. So don't be afraid to like push yourself, know your value. I don't really do anything unless I get paid up front. And
Right.
this is a business where nobody gets paid up front. But I'm at a stage in my life now, like where I can just say, well,
This is what I do, and this is what
this
I
is
charge.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All right, we are taking a quick commercial break to tell you about my book, Self-Care for the Creative. If you are an artist, songwriter, creative entrepreneur, whatever it is you do, and you're feeling like you're running on empty or suffering from burnout, then Self-Care for the Creative is the survival guide you did not know that you needed. Inside, you're going to discover ways to nail the basics of self-care, how to thrive as an empowered empath, how to maximize your creativity and manage your career, and build a self-care toolkit that supports you. Self-Care for the Creative is more than just a book. It is a roadmap to staying sane, successful, and soulful in your creative career. All right, let's get back to the podcast episode.
Because my plate's a little full that I can do that. I
Mhm.
understand how blessed I am from my past work that people will want to work with me. And that doesn't mean to say that I haven't taken people who couldn't afford to work with me and signed them to my own production company just because I wanted to give them a shot. I do all sorts of ways of working, but I'm the boss. I don't have any manager. At a certain point, I was like, I'm the only one who really understands my schedule with the kids and everything that's going on. So I'm going to run my calendar. And it's worked out great. I'm also a woman of faith. And so I always say, God's my manager. He's going to bring
Yes.
me the right
Yeah.
people and open the right doors and slam the wrong
Close.
doors. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And I'm grateful for that. Not everything's good money.
Right.
Sometimes you end up in bad situations, and I'm always like in prayer, making sure that I'm just walking in the right direction,
A
you know?
100%, 100%. A career at this level can take a toll. Like, as you mentioned, you were, looking out for Avril, making sure, like, don't go to that party, like there's so many almost booby traps in this industry. And if you're not careful, or if you're like you said, you worked 6 days a week in the beginning for 10 years, how have you been able to stay grounded, like mentally, emotionally, in such high pressure and high output environments creatively?
I would honestly say it has to be my faith, because there was a time when I wasn't very calm at all. I took antidepressants for about 10 years. And then when I became a Christian, I just started to like really understand that God has a path for you, and you just have to kind of relax and enjoy the ride and work hard. That's it. Whoever works hard, like, you win. You can't help but win. And if God's on your side, so I'm definitely a big believer. And once I started to let go, excuse the pun,
I love
Avril's
it.
records could let go of thinking I was in control of everything, then things started to get better for me mentally. And I didn't really
Mhm.
feel like I needed the help. There's nothing wrong if you need help with medications. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Just for me, once I started to have like a daily prayer life, and some people it's meditation, for Buddhists, and it's each to his own way, but that's what worked for me, was just really like, I have a little note on my thing, worries to give to God,
I
and I
love
just write.
that.
Yeah, I just write in whatever's like really bothering me. If you sometimes mentally you're just like, "Ugh, I just feel so messed up and I can't relax. What is it?" And it can be something as strange as, the lawyer about that little car accident I had, hasn't called me back in 4 days. And I'll just write that down. God,
Give
this
it to
lawyer
God.
hasn't called me back in 4 days. Can you please sort it out in Jesus' name, please?
I
Amen.
love it. I
And then
love
I
it.
swear to you, by the end of the day, that lawyer's called me back and everything's fine. So
That
I
is
give
so
everything,
amazing.
I make my little notes and give it to God and just trust that everything's going to work out fine.
I love that. It
That's
sounds
how
like,
I keep my
yeah,
mental health, like,
yeah, the
normal.
power of surrender. Yeah, it's a power of
Yeah, if I'm in
surrendering. Yeah.
control, then this is a, scary industry. And, I went through a divorce 16 years ago, and my career really wasn't doing that great. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe I'll look at other things to do. And then suddenly I went to a session and I went outside and just prayed for God to give me a great idea. And he gave me this melody for that song, Tonight I'm Loving You, with Enrique Iglesias. And this melody is like, you. And I was like, where did that come from? I wouldn't have come up with that melody. And I went in the studio and I said, check this out. If we just say something like I love you can put anything as long as it ends in the word you. And one of the guys said, how about tonight I'm fucking you? And that's what happened. That's how that song came about. Everyone loved
Oh
it.
my God.
And then of course I was like, hang on a second, guys, we can't do that. It's awful. I'd just become a Christian. And they were all like, yeah, we can. And I was like, listen, it's going to come out to radio as Tonight I'm Loving You. And
Right,
sure
right.
enough, 3 weeks later, it went to radio as Tonight I'm Loving You. And
Wow.
all around the world, that song went to number one.
That's
Right
so
when I
awesome.
needed a big hit, when, I had two little girls and I just really needed something. And it
Oh
was
my
like a
God.
huge song for me.
So incredible. I love that story. I love that story. And it just popped right into your head. Like it was like a
Yeah, she said that
reflex.
prayer. Could you give me a little something, God, please? I don't know these people. My first time kind of working with a DJ, this guy, DJ
Mhm.
Frank E., who's awesome, and this guy, Jacob Luttrell. And that was it. I just went out and said a prayer and that melody. And I'm like, that's so, it sounds kind of Egyptian. It's so cool. I went, maybe they'll like it. And I went in and they all were like, yes, get on the
They love
mic, do
it.
it.
They
Yeah,
love
they
it.
loved it. So yeah, I don't do
That's
anything without God in
incredible.
my life,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring. I love. Thank you for sharing that story.
Oh, yeah.
It leads me to my next question in terms of just like creativity and coming up with ideas as a songwriter. So for artists and producers that are coming up today, what are like some pieces of advice that you give them over and over and over again in terms of like your biggest songwriting tips?
Well, the biggest songwriting tips with, if my mantra is look after music and music will look after you. So if you want to do music, you've got to really do it, and if you've got a regular day job, that's fine, but you're going to have to go to the studio or sit in your bedroom writing songs, and you're going to have to write 100, maybe 500 songs to get a good one. I've written thousands of songs, and a lot of them were bad. And so there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to have to get really good at making social media content. Back in the olden days, when I started to come up in the 90s, there was only one way to get known, and that was to be the artist and get a record deal, and then people would get to know you. It was very challenging.
Very different.
Now with TikTok and with Instagram and with YouTube, anyone can become successful. So you have to get good at making short form content. Show yourself writing your song sitting on your bed. Show yourself writing your lyrics. Invite people in and say, do you think I should go with this second verse? Or do you like this one better? Start to build a community and reach out to songwriting communities online. And that would be my tip of how to break in, because it's incredibly hard. And then join SONA, which is Songwriters of North America. I'm on the board. They have wonderful events, and it will really help you feel like you're in a community of songwriters. Also join either BMI or ASCAP. They're the two collection agencies. They just give so many tips to songwriters, and it's a wonderful thing. But if you love songwriting, you just have to do it. You just have to do it. And my biggest piece of advice was, if you possibly can, please become a record producer who is a songwriter, because a songwriter, they don't really make money anymore, because it's just the way streaming works. They just don't really compensate writers enough. And
if you're a producer, you get that master.
yeah, you get a piece of the master. And Dolly Parton said it: if you write a hit song, you're going to make a lot of money. But having those top 5 hit songs at top 40 radio, that's such a rare thing. For me, it's been a rare thing, and I've had like 12 of them. It's still a rare thing. So, you've got to have a skill, and the skill will be producing. I'm really good at cutting vocals. And back in the Matrix days, I recorded most of the vocals, all of Avril's vocals, just me and her, and tune them and comp them and consolidate them. So find a skill, find somebody who can't do what you do. If you're really good at lyrics and really good at melodies, and you meet somebody who can run all the gear and is brilliant with playing piano and guitar, then form a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. In this business. And so I formed a team with people who are better at me in other ways, and then I brought my special unique gift. And that's teamwork.
Incredible. I love that. So many great gems of advice in this conversation. All right, I got 2 more questions for you, and we'll get you out of here. Tell us about your masterclass. I know you've been doing these masterclasses about every 6 months or so. What is the class like? How can people reach out to you and join the class?
Sure. I started doing the masterclass and career consultations because basically my TikTok kind of took off. I had no idea anyone would be interested in me. And so at that point, I'm like, well, what does this mean if I had like 7 million views on a video? And I was just like, you know what I could do? I could help people who really want to learn how to write songs. I didn't go to Juilliard. I didn't go to Berklee School of Music. I just have this unique way of writing songs. And I think it's pretty easy. And so my husband said, I'd pay good money to do that. And I'm like, well, I don't want to charge a lot of money. What I want to do is just give people an opportunity to come to my group class. It's on Zoom. I only do it twice a year. And, I can have as many people as want to be there. And I give the class at 50% off straight away, like till a month before. I'm offering it at super low rate. I do an hour's breakdown of how I write songs, and I really break it down with examples, and I show you all my songs and how they were written. And then I do a half-hour industry crash course too, and then a 15-minute guest speaker and a 15-minute question and answer. Everyone sends me in questions. And then one person wins a free studio setup for their home. And the studio is like under $100. So anyone can buy this. I give them the list of all the gear to buy and a video of how to set it up and start to record your own songs from your own bedroom. You can do this. Yes. So it's been really successful so far. And I'm also available to do it privately, but not many people can afford to do that. So I just love doing this group class. And I also do career consultations. If only when I started out, I could get on the phone with someone who's been doing this for years and just ask them all the questions for an hour. hour and have them answer them. So for an hour, I listen to everything people ask me and I'll answer back quickly. But then what I do is I write them like a prescription, like a doctor would, even though I'm not a doctor, afterwards, in real detail of what I think they should do and the roadmap they should take. So people can reach out to me.
Prescription, a musical
Exactly.
prescription, if you will. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. So people can reach out to me at laurenchrysty.com. So no, it's not at Lauren, just Lauren at laurenchrysty.com.
Perfect.
And and the next class is October 11th at 12 noon, Los Angeles time, Pacific Standard Time.
I will put all that information in the show notes for you guys. So when you guys are tuning in, just check the show notes, her email, all the information for the classes, the career consultations, the next masterclass where you can join will be in the show notes. So definitely check that out.
And when people reach out to me, I am available to work with people, but I don't just throw that out because I don't want to be inundated. But if people write to me and they send me a demo and I think they're amazing, then I am available to be booked for sessions.
Incredible. What an opportunity. Because you're right. Like, I think about that too. That's part of the reason why we do what we do is like when I first started, I wish I could get in the room with hit songwriters. I wish I could ask them questions. I wish I had the accessibility to, get this information. So I'm just such a fan of everything that you're doing. And I hope everyone that's listening to this episode runs to your masterclass. So
I hope so too.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this conversation. To close this out, what's one piece of self-care advice you would give to an artist or a songwriter just starting out in the music industry?
Trust that if you have been given a gift from God, then God is going to make room for that gift. He's going to use it in some way. It may not be that you're going to be top of the charts, but you'll be surprised. Like, I thought I was going to be a pop star when I was growing up. And I'm just so amazed that God had this plan for me to get to be behind the scenes and to have two little girls of my own and to basically get to sort of be a mom at home and be in the studio and have hit records. It's like God's got a path for you, and just relax and enjoy the ride. Stop worrying and stay close to God. Pray morning, noon and night about anything, and remember my little notes, worries to give to God on your notes in your phone, and watch him just take care of everything.
I love it. Lauren Christy, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you're an artist, songwriter, or producer looking to rise to your next level, come join us at the Songwriter Series for music mentorship from hit songwriters. Or join us at our annual Hitmakers Songwriting Retreat this October in Los Angeles. For more info on all our events, visit stefanifryzel.com or just email us at info@stefanifryzel.com. For more self-care gems, check out my book, Self-Care for the Creative. And don't forget, self-care is always within reach, and your greatest masterpiece will always be you.